So the lockdown is unlocking. The Liberty cap is a jester's hat, and I will not forget what I've lost. Oh, breakfast crumbs. It's all a bit of a big joke, isn't it? And it's not funny. I saw a British flag flapping in the breeze today as I was driving from one town to another. And it caused a kind of contradiction in me. I thought, do I love my country? And the answer is yes and no. Do I love the aristocracy, the royal family, the government, the police, the institutions, the class system, all this kind of... Do I fuck? No, of course I don't. But there is something kind of quaint about the whole process. There is something quintessentially British that is quite lovely. And I do believe in hierarchy, and I do respect the norm, if you like, all this kind of stuff. You can't be a teenager forever, right? And yet, we all know that systems protect themselves. It's very difficult to move upwards. It's the general consensus, the usual way of doing things is it's there for a reason, but it can be stifling, and it can also be violent towards your liberty. Now, do I love the countryside, the spirit of place? Do I love Albion? Do I love Alba? Yes. You see, it's dying. You know, you'd have to be a fool not to see that the spirit of Albion, the traditional, you could spread this a bit further as well. I don't want to go into it. I'll get bored of it as well, to be honest, but it's dying. But it doesn't mean that there isn't a candle burning in the darkness. It doesn't mean that that's not kept alive by certain people. It doesn't mean that it won't always be kept alive. And until, I mean, who knows? In a particular dimension of thinking, it's always there, and everything that has been has always been there and will always be there. What comes to mind is this this polarity between escaping the world, like I've talked about before. I think so anyway. The harvest. There is a harvest going on. Nothing is permanent, and there is whether you could argue that it's mankind's, whether we are supposed to evolve spiritually. You see, when you juxtapose evolution against that and you look at things from that point of view, you can become very narrow-minded, where you may put everything down to evolutionary adaptation. But I believe that there is a seed in man, that this idea of man in the image of God, if you like, is a very real thing. And there is no real fundamental difference between monotheism and polytheism. It's just the language changes. Gods become angels, and the natural state of mankind is conflict. This is nature. Nature is always in conflict. Hence the harvest. It's guaranteed as soon as I turn the camera on, everything gets busy, people pull up in front of you, get paranoid thinking that you're filming them. Let it be. You see, it's like you have to do what you can, and you can't deny what you're embedded in. But you seek to become harmonious within your own purview. You seek to grow, to become noble. You try to avoid conflict where you can. You try to or rather, there's a deeper part of you that perceives the notion of divine providence being, it's like divine providence uses whatever situation, you know, is arising, the folly of man, you know, you see, initial intentions, they try to solidify no matter what the situation. So there is an original intention embedded within the evolution of man, I believe. In the same way that when you have an intention and then you leave the busyness, your mind separates itself from the original intention, and then that intention finds a way of playing itself out no matter what, and it will use what it can. So you can engage with that process macrocosmically. Doesn't mean that chaos is not there. Chaos is always around the corner. You become you assimilate the dragon, if you like, as much as it's trying to destroy you. So, all of that in mind, we carry on regardless, working patiently, privately, until we see the fruits of our own harvest. And those people that try to find satisfaction in the accumulation of wealth and the destruction of other people are working against the grand intention.